Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Yep, I'm Vanessa with ICND. If you don't know me, because it's been so long since we've been able to do a conference together, I work for ICND. We're a web development and digital marketing company specializing in helping VRMs get more direct bookings. Been in the VR space for 10 years now, and this is certainly a new era, but I'm excited to talk about some of the opportunities that we have for you today. I'd also like to introduce Greg with NEC Guest View Guide. Greg, do you want to introduce yourself real quickly?
Sure. Thanks, Vanessa. Greg Fiorot. I lead sales for NEC Display Solutions, specifically the Guest View Guide display, which is behind me, 23-inch interactive digital concierge that we love to see in all your vacation homes. So looking forward to a great conversation and a great day.
Yeah,
Thanks, Vanessa.
sure. And just as part of the housekeeping, we will do our best to monitor your questions throughout the presentation, but if we don't get to them, we will certainly address them at the end. But if you have questions, go ahead and throw them in there just so we don't forget about them, and we'll be glad to address them at the end if we don't get a chance throughout the session. And VRMA is also going to have this recorded, so if you want to share it with your colleagues and friends, we'd be glad for you to do that. We'll also be sharing it out via our own personal social media, so you can be sure to follow us. And I think Guest View Guide is also putting together an ebook to help give you a guide to help get started with these ideas. So you know, we wanted this to be very educational for you guys, give you ideas of how to earn more revenue with everybody who's coming and staying with you right now. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Greg.
Great. Thanks, Vanessa. So here are a few topics of today's discussion, and we'll start off with what is the new normal. Everyone knows we are in challenging times. Vacation rentals hit rock bottom in the late March timing, early April. Per the pandemic pulse on Beyond Pricing, I'm going to read a little quote here. It says, booking pace in the U.S. has remained steady this week after fairly volatile changes over the past week, and a good indication demand may be steadying, which is great news. But then, as early as a couple of weeks ago, we hear some shutdowns of short-term rentals in the Miami-Dade County last couple of weeks, looming concerns in Southern California for the recent COVID spike. So we're going to talk about ways of what we believe the new normal is and what we can do here in the short and medium term. The other thing is unemployment has hit record highs in the March timing, about 15%. The good news is we're down 11%, but not nearly to the point we were, which is about 4% prior to that. So unfortunately, we've had record layoffs within the industry and downsizing more than ever. So everyone is feeling the crunch and feeling the pressure to get more revenue than ever before. So ICND and GVG are here to help. We're going to show you some ways to make some of that lost revenue back by getting more guests, making incremental money in that first and third party services space and different products to save money with less support calls. So looking forward to a great conversation.
That's right. So the new normal, what is the new normal? Yeah, obviously the world has changed a lot with the COVID crisis and what's going on nationally in the US with the political landscape, protesting, and just everything is kind of crazy right now. So there's a lot of unknowns. And, you know, as we look at the data, a lot of the companies lost revenue for spring break, and whether you were in the mountain markets or in Florida, it hit many of my BRM customers really hard. So it definitely does mean that we need to look at the surge in bookings and look at it smart and how we can earn more revenue from each guest that's coming to stay with us. So, you know, with that, like Greg had mentioned, we did see since the beginning of June, a big increase in the number of rentals that are coming in. So where we had that low drop, we've got even today a lot more rentals coming in and being booked online and through call traffic. And so that's great to see. And of course, most of those people that are coming in are local, so within a day's drive, although I'm hearing a lot more people are flying. So that's good to see that that market is also increasing. I know a lot of the areas like in Colorado and Steamboat Springs rely a lot on fly traffic, so fly market, and they need those people to come travel. So that's good to see that more people are traveling in the air. And of course, we're having less international travel, so relying more on the US travel base. But there is a huge opportunity that many of the VR companies have homes, single family homes that allow for the guests to come in and spread out and enjoy a lot to do outdoors. So that's great. And also from what I've seen from my clients is that the VR industry is doing a great job with keeping things clean and their guests safe, and improving their cleaning standards. So that's a great thing and a big opportunity for our industry.
Increased revenue pressure. This one's yours, Vanessa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So with the increased revenue pressures, we also see increased revenue, increased competition from the OTAs coming up back on board. So we lost a lot of their traffic. They weren't doing as much advertising when the rentals went down, and but now they're back. So we've had to increase our marketing budgets to make sure that we're staying at the top of the search engines. Some are discounting to maintain occupancy, although many are using the revenue management tools that are out there, so they may actually be increasing some of the rates. So this really is hard to talk about with every market because every market is so different. But of course, there are the increased operational costs with additional cleaning and the cleaning logistics of having to bring your furloughed staff back. And are they wanting to come back? I've heard from many vacation rental companies that they've had a hard time with housekeeping. So if you're seeing that too, just know that there's others feeling the same struggles with, keeping housekeepers safe, making sure that they're not getting sick. So that's another thing that's kind of popping up on the radar is, are your staff getting sick, and is it kind of spreading within your staff? And then just the future, not knowing what's going to happen in the fall, not knowing if schools are going to go back virtually versus in person. If they're virtual in our drive markets, we may see that this surge continues. If they go back to school or do a hybrid, we may not see the same thing. And just the unknown, the uncertainty of the unknown. So it is a little bit more difficult to survive and thrive at the moment. And just thinking about the future. So I think that everybody should just prepare themselves as best as they can to hang on for the ride, but definitely some opportunities there.
Yeah, as Vanessa said, it's definitely been a wild ride, but it's not all doom and gloom. You can see by this chart by AirDNA, they illustrate the low point of COVID and the economic pressures in the late March timing. But now we're seeing a rebound with higher bookings than ever before in this year. We've tripled our rental bookings from April 5th through mid-May. And I'm sure with the latest graph, we'll see a continuation and a dramatic increase well over 1 million. So timing is now, to Vanessa's point. Let's capitalize on the increased bookings as we head into really the heart and the end of summer into the fall. And it's not too late. Booking reservations, to Vanessa's point, are not months in advance, but weeks in advance, especially those of us that are extending our cancellation policies or getting higher level of bookings. We're seeing bookings come back, so timing is of the essence. And think about it, if our kids go to school or not, whether they have this digital, online, virtual learning for only part of the week, why not do that in a vacation home with less distractions? Maybe there's no Xbox or Fortnite in a vacation home than at your home. So there's some proof points to suggest you may see some more rental bookings that are drive to versus fly to, and we'll talk about that a little later in the September and October than normal. So again, a real positive sign there. How do you thrive? Great question. So first and foremost, we need to prepare for the unexpected. No one can predict the future. On every channel you watch, from CNN to Fox, it says something different and everything in between. So we have to prepare now, and it's not too late to strengthen our financial position and handle these new challenges. Another way to thrive that we'll get into a little bit later is starting to sell these first and third party services. Sell the late checkouts. It's okay. Some of us have not sold these in the past. It's found money. For as low as 30 to 50 bucks, people are willing to pay on the spot for an extra hour or two. And it leads credence into the drive to markets versus the fly to markets, where you don't have to catch a flight. So you potentially may be able to charge for a late stay. And another opportunity is selling both first-party services. So keep in mind when we say first-party services are those that you, the property manager, fulfill. Could be a late checkout, a mid-stay clean, could be grocery delivery, or third-party services in your relationships with your local merchants that you have established, such as trolley tours, other activities, umbrella or chair rentals for the beach, or other equipment rentals, maybe a private chef, or even a grocery delivery as well in this category. So you may be getting a cut or an affiliation percentage for efforts for those services. And last but not least, which we'll talk about a little later, is rebooking directly to you versus the OTA. This will not save you money, but also improve your revenue scores as we strive to that 4.8 to 5.0 Superhost rating. So today we're going to talk about driving more profit. 3 ways: increasing your occupancy, selling more to your existing guests, and then saving money by a reduction in support calls. We'll focus on these two to begin with for this presentation. So the key thing here is we do want to make sure and work with your guests so they spend money while they're there and come back to you. So with that, I'll turn it over to Vanessa about getting more guests.
Thanks, Greg. So yeah, of course, if you want to make more money, we got to get more heads in beds, right? So right now, the current situation that we kind of talked about is like this little puppy drinking out of the water hose. We've got so much demand from everyone being cooped up at home and not feeling like they can get out and about in their local areas. So they're like, let's head to the beach, let's head to the mountains, let's head to the lake. And so, all of my clients right now are just seeing such a huge surge in bookings that we talked about. And so, when you're drinking out of the fire hose, it's better if you have a wider mouth. And so I just kind of want to go into some of those things that we're seeing really working on websites. So, the big thing to gain more direct bookings. So another way to make more money with every guest is if your guest comes back to your website to book. So we're going to talk about how to get people to come back to your website and book, and what kind of features and functionality you can use to help them book easier, as well as think about, your call volume. And your website is your best salesperson to handle that overflow of call volume, but you have to have certain information on your sites right now, like cleaning protocols and COVID updates and things like that to help make sure that they're going to come back to your website and book. And, you know, I think it's really important that we talk about, you know, urgency features and things to get more leads, to prepare ourselves for the future if perhaps we don't have such a surge in vacation rentals and we need to kind of squeeze the rest of the water out of that hose. So, yeah, so let's talk about ease of search. So this is a big thing, you know, if you're investing in the OTAs, and I'm going to say OTAs a lot, and I apologize, I haven't defined that yet, but for anybody who's new, when I talk about OTAs, I'm talking about Airbnb, VRBO, Expedia, all of the channels out there that aggregate different inventory, and the guests might come there and book through them rather than coming direct through your website. So, you know, a lot of times I have my clients come to me and say, I want to spend less on the OTAs. I had a phone call this morning. And that's great for us because, you know, that's our common goal. And there's things that we have to do on our website to make sure that guests feel very comfortable coming to you. You offer them a value that the OTAs don't offer. So part of that is ease of search. So for instance, I love to give real world examples, and I'll even make it specific to my family. We live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so we've got the beach there. So when we go on vacation, we like to go to the mountains. And part of that is, you know, to be nearby hiking and nearby the attractions. And specific to the home, my kids love a pool and they love arcade games. So when I go on an OTA site to look for those things and search for a pool, for example, it pulls up any property that has a pool in the community. And I'm really looking for a private pool. So, you know, many of your websites do this now where they specifically say private pool. And that's beach or a mountain destination. It may be a fire feature. Maybe I'm looking to have a camp out with them and we want to grill hot dogs on a campfire. So I need something to do that. So being specific in your amenities and talking to your reservationist about what people are asking for that maybe they're not finding on the website, and putting that information in your property management software to then follow through to your website is a really great way for you to offer something that the OTAs don't offer and allow you to put a little nugget in their brain. I need to go back to this company and use them again because it was so easy to search. The other thing is, okay, so they've searched, they found the property that they love, they're getting ready to book, but there's some hesitation. And many of the websites out there right now, they usually have some form of booking abandonment. So this would be like put in your information, and it saves that information. If they don't book, they'll get an email in an hour saying, hey, Vanessa, you are looking at Snow Place Like Home 1405, come back and book now. So that's pretty, you know, well established in the industry. But what we're seeing is a lot of folks are not putting their information in because maybe they're on their mobile device. Of course, older demographics sometimes feel like their mobile device isn't as secure as their desktop. And so for whatever reason, more of our traffic that's coming to our sites is definitely increasing on the mobile end for conversions than it did last year, but it's still, we're still losing some traffic to go back to mobile and book. So this is a cool feature that can pop up and say, hey, let me remind you to book, right? So if you're on your mobile device and you're going to be home in 4 hours, you can select when you want that email to remind you, put in your email address. You've collected a lead, and then it's an automated process for them to get that email, so you don't have to send out a reminder in your calendar. It's something that just automatically goes to them. Which is a good point of getting those leads. So obviously we want the bookings, and our reservation staff probably feels pretty overwhelmed right now with the amount of leads that they're answering anyways. But having information out there like request more info, ask a question, this is a great tool that we have on our property detail pages that will help future people that are looking at that page. So it's a lot like when you're shopping on Amazon and you're looking at a product and you're seeing what other people ask for and they're able to get an answer. So this is, I'm asking the property manager, is there a Keurig coffee pot? How far is it from the ski slopes? And you're able to moderate that answer in your admin area and provide some unique content that's not out there getting shared on the OTA. So you're looking like a great authority for that property. So if somebody types in "no place like home," your property and page is going to show up at the top. And some new features we have are price alerts. So a lot like Google Flights, where you go in and you put your dates in, and you may just be shopping and you might think, well, if I wait a week, those prices will go down. So if they put in their information, you're getting a lead, but you're also getting some automation there. So if the price does go down, because many of us are using those revenue management tools that are allowing us to adjust those pricing. So if the price goes down, I'll get an email saying, "Hey, Vanessa, this is a great price. You should hurry up and book now." If the price goes up, then they'll get an email saying, "Hey, due to the popularity for your dates and limited availability, our prices are going up. You should hurry and book now." So always throwing that urgency at them too. So what we want to do is make sure that we focus on what's important as well. So with thinking about earning more from every guest stay, we also have the ability to upsell services while guests are on your website, right? So when you're thinking about what to upsell to a potential guest, you need to think about the value. So if you can show the value, and this could be convenience as well. So thinking about like, cribs and baby accessories that you have on hand that you can easily rent out. That shows a value because I don't have to cram it into my car and pack it full tight. Bringing the kids is enough and all their toys and whatnot. Awareness, so where and how do we make sure that guests are aware of the different opportunities they have to add on some of these features? So definitely, it's just like a shopping experience or a dining experience. When you're shopping, they have everything right there at checkout for you to impulse buy. And, when you're dining, of course, they put the wine glasses right there on the table, like to give you a little hint, maybe you should order a drink with your meal. So, we want to make sure that we make it easy and fast for the guests to find what you're offering and also buy it. So add-ons on your website, this is a great way for you to earn more with the people who are booking on your website. So some opportunities there are like early check-in, late checkout, pet fees. These are a lot of times what your reservationists might be selling, and guest services might be contacting your guests about post the reservation. But it's something that you can do right now on your website, along with things that are convenient. So if you're a beach destination, again, offering those umbrellas, chairs, like in this example, boogie boards, beach buckets, just those things that we don't have to pack, that makes it so easy. I mean, the last thing I want to do when I go to the beach is lug all of that down to the beach and lug it all the way back. So having things set up on the beach already for them. And then if you're in a ski market or a lake market, you know, you can have things like a s'mores kit and different ideas that don't take too much effort to put together, but provide a great value for your guests. And it's a nice thing. And hotels have been doing it for years. And as we talk about like different opportunities for the fall and virtual learning and things like that, one thing that I was talking to a property manager this morning is everybody's calling and asking me what's the internet usage on the site, what the internet speed is. Well, when you go to a hotel, you know, they give you the base that's free, but if you want to add multiple devices to it, or if you want to have a higher speed internet, then they jack the price up. So again, it's another opportunity for you to be able to upsell your services with internet speed and whatnot. So we just have to be thinking about what's your guest, who's their persona, what do they need right now, and finding those add-ons to make it convenient for them. Of course, pretty much everybody's doing some sort of damage waiver or peace of mind insurance, resort fees, and things like that. But another one that people are starting to charge for is that cancel for any reason insurance. So you might have your travel insurance, which is definitely a great safeguard, but they might also have a cancel for any reason to double coverage and make sure that everything is covered if they need to cancel. And it could be, you know, just 10% of that overall booking. And it helps, again, safeguard you in case we run into more waves of cancellations in the fall.
Sorry. So the section is earn more from every guest stay, and as Vanessa went through the prior arrival opportunities with the website, now let's say you're in the property, and right here is our guest view guide. It's your digital concierge. It's right behind me. It's a 23-inch high definition touchscreen display with a beautiful rotating screen picture of the area, a list of recommendations of where you might want to eat with your family, and other information about the property, all at your fingertips. So way to make money. And at this time of our economic pressures, we really have to look deep and see other ways where we can grab some incremental revenue. That could be selling first and third party services we talked about earlier, showing different advertisements of local restaurants or discounts to some nearby attractions or events. And then a way to save money by a reduction in those pesky support calls by having a self-help video right there at the touch of your fingertips. I mean, how many times do we get phone calls of how to work my remote, how to turn on the TV, I don't know how to fix the heat, I don't know how to turn on the spa. It's right here via a self-help tutorial with the guest view guide. In the next couple of slides, we're going to give you examples on how to earn more from every guest stay. So we're going to look at this from all facets of the vacation journey. So from pre-arrival on the website with ICND to when they're there checking in and in the property during their stay, through checkout and hopefully a late checkout that we discussed earlier. On this slide, there's a few examples to earn more money, such as mid-stay clean or luggage store or other services. We're going to call those first-party services or services you, the PM, fulfills. And don't be afraid to offer late checkout. I know this is probably the third time I've mentioned this, but it's found money. We have a customer up in Savannah, Georgia, Savannah Luxury Rentals. They sold over 500 late checkouts in the first month and a half of partnering with us, and they've never done it before in 10 years. So now they're charging between $20 and $40 for a late checkout, and everybody's happy with that, the guest and the vacationer. In this slide, we've talked about it a little bit before. So some property managers base these late checkouts on their average daily rate. So it could be the number of hours you request. 1 hour maybe $30, 2 hours maybe 50, 3 hours maybe 75 or more. One vacation rental organization, believe it or not, told us they make over $100,000 in revenues from selling this. So it's very, very simple. It's a click of a button. You request the service on the guest view guide, and all it takes is a minute or so where you, the property manager, has to approve it. It's all completed easily and swiftly through Stripe, and then you're done. Here's an example of selling third-party services. Now, keep in mind, the first-party services are the services that you fulfill. These third-party services are fulfilled by someone else. You may get an affiliation cut of that. You all should have relationships with your local community of restaurants or attractions or activities. And if you don't, now is the time for local communities to work together. There are so many different ways. We couldn't fit on the screen here for third-party services through the pre-arrival through checkout. Some of the ones that we've seen successful are selling trolley tickets up in Savannah, Georgia, or selling ATV rentals in Utah, working with local restaurants and local merchants where you may get $10 to $20 or $30 for promoting their restaurant on your guest view guide, your digital display that's behind me, whereas the guest gets a possible 5 to 10% discount on a dinner benefit, and the restaurant gets all of these reservations from you that are shown here on the guest view guide. We'll show you some more details of this in the next couple of slides. So here is another third-party service example where each of you, like I said earlier, should have some local merchant relations, whether it's selling bikes or renting bikes, or renting chairs and umbrellas, or selling tours. And if you don't, now is the time to really take advantage of this. Here's an example with Bike Shack in Hollywood, Florida, where this company would deliver 4 bikes to you at $30 a bike for the day, and you, the PM, would work this out ahead of time and get approximately 15% of the revenue, so $18 to your bottom line. The next couple of slides show you some real life examples of selling third-party services. So here, this trolley company, in this case, Old Savannah Tours, loves this idea. They're getting trolley bookings from your guests there in the vacation homes and will offer you a portion of the revenue. They may pay you 5 or 10% a month for advertising. They may pay you $10 or $20 a month for advertising. Here in this example, Savannah Luxury Rentals gets 20% of all tickets purchased on the GVG, and it's real simple. On the far right-hand slide, you see the details of the adult tickets or child tickets. You click on request. The next visual on the guest view guide selects how many quantities. The next visual, you put in your mobile phone. You, as the PM or as Savannah Luxury Rentals, would approve it, and it automatically goes to your phone as the ticket. And you can actually use that ticket, leveraging Stripe for entrance into the trolley or other museums or other local activities of the area. This fourth, here's the is another way of working with local merchants and local activities and local restaurants in the area. Another top partner of ours, Cozy Vacation Rentals out of Texas and Maryland, are selling 2 complimentary tastings, 50% discount on all purchases through Cross Mountain Winery. The next step for this company is to show Cozy Rentals would show Cross Mountains that you're getting tens of thousands of impressions, and we like to charge you $5 or $10 or $20 for these, and hopefully it's a win-win for both companies, not only the guest, but you, the property manager, and certainly the merchant. And then finally, here's our fourth example of rebooking and leveraging the guest view guide. This rebooking opportunity shows up in many, many areas. It could be on the home screen, it could be on the screensaver mode, and it rotates every few minutes. So as Vanessa and I mentioned before, this easily promotes and drives traffic and rebookings. It eliminates those OTA fees and other fees. It drives guests to your website or a vacation agent, and it promotes rebooking and awareness of your brand on the home screen and checkout, and allows you to cross-promote other large facilities or other large properties in your vacation rental network. So with that, there are a lot of great opportunities that we could talk more, but for now, I'll turn it over to Vanessa to talk about driving direct bookings through start to finish. You're on mute.
Sorry, I muted myself. But yes, driving redirect bookings or driving direct rebookings. I love to put some dyslexia in there. But, you know, with new business, of course, the old adage is that you spend 80% on getting new customers and 20% of your budget on your current customers, right? So, you know, we're spending a lot of money through advertising out on the OTAs, SEO, pay-per-click, social media ads to drive that traffic to our website to convert with our reservationists. And you know, I think that this also shows like the how a product like Guest View Guide as an in-home guide helps with the whole marketing plan. Is a lot of times, and I've even seen it from personal experience, is that during the stay, there's not a lot of branding of the company. So especially if you're getting that new business from the OTAs and they're coming to stay with you and they're not getting exposed to your brand to build that brand awareness, then you're doing a disservice to yourself and, you know, the next part of that cycle, which is the guest life cycle emails and social media email marketing and retargeting ads to drive that traffic back to your website. So, you know, I told the story about when we booked our vacation with a company. We were looking for things that were specific, so they followed the search advice as far as having the ability for me to find what I was looking for in a home, and it was a gorgeous home and a great upcoming community, but I had no interaction with their brand whatsoever. They sent the code for us to go in. Somebody came and serviced the hot tub and the pool while we weren't there. No branding or signage anywhere in the unit, which, you know, sometimes they might have a sign on the front of the house or, you know, something, but having something like the Guest View Guide in the home to continuously put your company name there and serve them and provide a good guest experience about the things in the home really helped me do my job. And when they get that email saying, hey, come back and book with us, they're like, oh yeah, we were staying with ABC Vacation Rental Company and they did provide a great stay for us, so we should rebook with them. So you know, I think that that's the power of having something in your property to allow them to know your brand, and it makes, again, easier for me to do my job and sending that traffic back to your website to rebook.
So now we're talking about prioritizing and promoting services. So let's prioritize the opportunities. We showed you a lot, and we want to make sure we have time for questions and comments. This chart shows you the many opportunities associated with dollar impact, how much money you can make. So on the left-hand side is impact on how many how much money you can make relative to the effort, how much time and effort you put into making that money. An example, and a good example, is high impact, making you a lot of money with low effort, so it really doesn't take you a lot of time. And this is where the focus should be, the upper right-hand quadrant in green, the early check-ins, the late checkouts, the concierge services, the travel insurance and pet damage and cancellation fees that Vanessa mentioned. So the Guest View Guide and ICND, we're here to help. We're here to help and show you these opportunities and make it very, very simple for you to achieve your financial financial goals. This slide, and before we close, we want to make it easy for you and for your guests. And I know it's quite a little bit of an eye chart, but you want to focus on the green part, the green part with the yeses, and the bottom left-hand corner of the blue highlights. The age of guidebooks, paper flyers, paper all over the vacation unit, phone calls, email, text, voice assistants, they may be here for a long time. But as we transition now into a very nimble and very flexible and very digital age, the bottom four highlighted in blue with yeses across the board are a way to make the future much more economic and financial for you to earn more from every guest stay. So both ICND and GVG offer these digital experience, whether it's before you even get there as you're planning your vacation, to while you're in the home, and before you leave, hopefully rebooking for your next stay. So with actionable takeaways, I will turn it over to Vanessa.
So it's definitely a great time with everybody in your homes to, think about how we should best approach these guests, and what are the things that are laying around in your warehouses that you could be, promoting on your website and through the guest view guide. What are some ideas on how you can work with your local community and support them too? So, obviously with the COVID crisis and the shutdowns and things, your local community needs promotion just as much as you do. So you can help fuel that fire by getting their businesses in front of them and offering their services on the guest view guide and on your website. And the supporting your local economy is something that legislators like to see. So if you're battling some restrictions and things like that, and being able to show what you do for the community, that's always a great thing to help fight that good fight. And make it easy. You don't have to start with things that will take a lot of implementation time and time from your staff. Just make it easy, and then make it easy for them to purchase them. So I think that that's definitely some of those bottom lines.
So now we're ready for some Q&A. I'm going to put this slide up. And by all means, we went through a lot today. Reach out to Vanessa and myself, take down our email, our cell phone. We don't mind flooding our cell phone or email because we're here to help.
That's our jobs, right?
That's
That's what we do every day. We did have some questions come in. Greg, does the guest view guide connect to the property management software?
Yes, it does. We connect to a handful of PMS different softwares, as well as we work with all softwares by exchanging iCal links, and we will be bringing more PMS softwares across the line in the near term. So quick answer is yes, and that's very important to make sure those reservations line up with what you're seeing out there, the names line up for the check-in and check-out date. So that's critically important for us.
Great. And then there's another attendee asked, working with ICND, typically how long does it take to look at our needs, work with us, put together a marketing plan, and all the ways we can optimize? I would say, contact me. There's my contact information. It doesn't take more than, a discovery meeting and for me to meet with my team and get back with you rather quickly about what we would recommend. We work with over 200 companies across the globe. So we're able to quickly look at your site, look at what you might be missing with your optimization, what opportunities are there in your market, what kind of inventory do you have that we can really leverage to get you some good traffic that you're going to convert on. So if you are interested in any of those services, I'd love to talk with you guys. I'm I'm very passionate about those direct bookings and getting you a good plan in place. There's also another question. What are the best type of local businesses to try and work with? I assume restaurants. What else?
Oh, there's a slew of them. Certainly restaurants, and having different ads on your GBG. Um, it could be different trolley tours or activities or museum tours in your area. It's really anything that's around it could be a bike shack that rents bikes, and it's a shack on the beach that's next to your vacation home. Um, it could be uh, grocery delivery. It could be alcohol delivery if that's allowed. It's really any merchant in your community that you want to work with that you think a vacationer would, we're all lazy on vacation. We don't want to think much. We turn off the brain. So think about in your geographic area where we could work directly with them. And we actually have it's called a cold call pitch deck that we would give you to send to all your local restaurants that go through the opportunity to partner with Guest View Guide, as well as show the number of possible impressions that rotate on the Guest View Guide for a small amount. It could be $5 a month, and they could get an upwards of 20 to 30,000 impressions if you have 40, 50, 60 properties. So the benefit is there to invest in Guest View Guide. But I think it's endless to answer the question. And anybody that really wants to do anything could be renting jet skis down in Miami. We have a customer doing that. Could be working with ATV rentals in Utah. Could be wine tours or even limos that take you to and from the wine tour. So I don't think there's one answer. I think there's a ton of answers for that.
And just to be clear, like the opportunity is also to kind of pay to generate that content, which is great for your website. So a lot of my customers want to be a great resource for their area. So if I'm in Myrtle Beach and I'm a vacation rental manager, I can reach out to a lot of these places who are already advertising with like the hotels and the different chamber co-ops. So I would be looking at what are the main attractions in your area that your guests are going to want to look at. So for Myrtle Beach, it would be like the Sky Wheel and the water parks and things like that, that people are really wanting to use. And I know I've got some clients that sell water park tickets on their website. It could be something that is new to the area this season. So they're really looking for some traction and some traffic. But Greg is also saying like you can have them pay you $20 a month or something to advertise their company on your website and on your Guest View Guide. So it's an opportunity just for another revenue source completely. Right, Greg?
Yeah, why they're there. So with ICND, it's prior to there, and we hope that with ICND they line up a lot of activities to keep the kids and yourself busy during vacation. But some folks don't do that. Some folks will just like, I don't want to deal with it until they're there. And I mean, I could probably list out 20 different activities, 20 different opportunities to make money with selling advertising space, getting a revenue of a couple percent back. And maybe nothing. Maybe it's just working with a local restaurant to promote it. And then once they see all these guests coming from your vacation property, they may be gladly to give you $20 for the tens of thousands of impressions you're going to get on the Guest View Guide while they're there in the unit.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
So
Vanessa. Yeah.
paying to build out your content. That's great. Um, Someone said, seems like now is time to really take advantage of the surge in bookings. Ain't going back to the old days. Guests are happy to pay for services that are value to them. So that's great.
Amen to that. I'll tell you, I talked to a lot of PMs and they're like, I don't want to work for my local restaurants. I don't want to sell an extended stay. I don't know why not. I mean, now is the time. It's tough. It's a tough economic market. It's tough economic pressures. Even if it's $20 for an extended stay for an hour, it's a click of a button on the guest view guide and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised how many some of our partners have been getting. And of course, you want to bump that up. Maybe it's 40 for a couple hours, 70 for 3 hours, whatever it may be. So
Yep.
opportunities now.
Well, I mean, I've been hearing from some of my clients that are struggling getting the housekeeping and being able to clean on time. So they've even had to extend out, for if checkout time was 3, then it's 4. So if you're a smaller company and a bit more agile to be able to meet those demands and offer those services, that's even another perk that you could be promoting on your website, that you're offering those things. So if you can't hit them on the website, it's great to hit them on the guest view guide too.
And one point I didn't even mention is that when you check in with the guest view guide, you do a little survey, 1 through 5 smiley faces, and you as a PM know, because you're going to get a text saying, oh, they checked in. In the same accord, you're going to see a checkout of 1 through 5. Hopefully it's all smiley faces, as opposed to checking out at 3. You may not know they've checked out. But now if they check out at 8 o'clock, you're going to get a notice on your device saying they've checked out, giving you all 5 stars. So instead of trying to get that place clean from 3 to 5, now it's much easier for your housekeeping to say, oh, wow, these folks are ready to check out. They're gone. Let's get in there and clean up and maybe sell an early check-in as an opportunity. So a lot of opportunities and a lot of flexibility with the guest view guide.
And you are still offering some promotional pricing, right, Greg? So if people are interested, they can contact you.
Contact me. We have some promotional pricing that right now is ending July 31st, but I'm pushing hard to get that extended. So there's a lot of ways, and we'll work with you and get creative with you. And also some terms of where you won't have to pay for the first month or 2, because we want to make sure you see the value. You're recouping that $34.99 a month and then some, which is gravy and pure profit on top of it. Thanks, Vanessa, for the plug.
Yeah, and another, Carrie asked, are you able to remove the late checkout option in the event one is not available and the property is a turnover?
Absolutely, yeah, we get that too. And some of these folks in Savannah, I mean, they have quick checkouts where they're checking out at 3 and someone else is checking 4. You can totally disable that. You don't need the late checkout. And you can actually pick it by, if you have 100 properties, you can either select all or select the individual ones where someone else is coming here on the short term. So definitely.
Great. So I think I answered all the questions live, but if by chance we didn't get to you, there's our contact information. Again, we'd love to talk with you, see how we can help you guys earn more with every guest stay.
Light up our cell phones and our emails. We're here to help, and now's the time to help. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Hope you found it very educational. We appreciate y'all sticking around. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, everybody, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you to our presenters for all of their insights, especially as we all try to navigate this time together. Please keep an eye out and an ear out for an email from education@vrma.org, just a quick survey just to help us get some feedback that I'll be able to share with the presenters at a little bit of a later date. I will, like I had said, this is going to be recorded and made available in about 24 to 48 hours. So give us some time to put that up on our archive and our file library. Greg and Vanessa, I'll email you a little bit later on today just with some next steps to kind of close the loop on this one. But again, to echo Greg and Vanessa, have a wonderful rest of your week and a nice relaxing weekend. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.